Hello all. So we were actually seeing some of the built-in functions of Tableau. In that series, we have looked into number functions and then the string functions. Now we are going to see in this session about the Tableau's date function. This is basically a inbuilt function which is present in your Tableau, and it will allow you to perform some kind of manipulations with the date record. If you have a date record in your data source, this will allow you to do the manipulations with the date records. So you can do some kind of basic operations, date operations, you could do it. And also you can create some complex data expressions also. You can actually create it by making use of these functions. So many different functions are there. We will just have an idea about the different functions shortly. Now that first of all, we need to create an input for your Tableau's date functions. Generally, if you take your Tableau's date functions, you need to create a input for that. Okay. So how do you create this input? Means there are certain steps you can follow it, and with that you can actually create an input for your data source. First thing is, you need to verify the data fields. Okay. Why do you need to verify the data fields? Is just because you wanted to identify if the records is actually containing only the date or not. Maybe if it could be assigned a data type as a string, and just because it is a string, there is a possibility that other types of data is also present with the this field basically. So you need to have a verification if only all the records are having the date or not. Okay. So if it is there, then we need to take some steps and we need to change the data type. Okay. So whenever the data needs to be corrected, and we need to do that, and in case if the record is having much null value, that also needs to be transformed to its string type. Okay. And that conversion of a null type to its corresponding string type, right? So that could be done by making use of your date parse function. So parsing the date format is something that we will use it. It's a method which we will use it just to define the parts of your date. Okay. And then finally, if all of these things is done, in case if the date is not at all of the string type, and if it is belonging to some other format, then you will use a numeric. That is the date function, which is used to convert your expression to a date type format. Okay. So these are some of the steps that could have actually helped you to understand what different types of functions might be there in your data type. Okay. So some kind of functions that will help you to verify the data fields. Some functions will be there to change the data type. And also there will be some functions that could actually perform the function of parsing and for the expressions as well. Okay. So now without wasting time, let's get inside our Tableau to understand what are the different types of functions that is available with date. So let's get inside our Tableau environment. So this is our Tableau environment. Yeah. So now what we have is, this is the sample that I created, right? For your number and string, I was using the same calculated field. So I'm just going here and then I'm going to edit this itself. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, first function that I'm going to use and show you is day is the function that I'm going to use it. So day is basically will be given an input as a date. Okay. So how do I give this input as a date? Means, say for example, I'm giving it as maybe 20, and I just give it as a year 2019 6 3. This is what I'm giving. Okay. Ending it with this. Ending it with this. So now the calculation is valid. So you can understand that I have created a calculated field for your day. Okay. So now let's see what is happening here. So the calculated field is created now. So now I'm just keeping this in. I'm sorry, I just dropped the wrong one. So where is our sample? So sample, yeah, sample is here. So I'm just placing the sample and converting it to a label. You can see here 3 is the day because we gave it as year, month and a date. So it is giving me the date as 3. Okay. So that's an integer equivalent to the day which we have provided. Okay. So that is first function that you can make use of it in under your date. Okay. The second function is same way you can make use of your month as well. Okay. So month, if you give for the same date, month if you give and click on OK, and if I will place it again. Okay. So let me just place it again. Yeah. So it is giving me as 6. Yeah. So that's because it was a month, right? So it's working similar to the date only. Okay. Now, similarly, we can use a year as well. So here we will use it. Click on OK. Yeah, you can see that it has already been displayed as 2019. Okay. So now one more function which we will use is that there is a function called as date diff. Okay. So this date diff function, you will use it like this. Okay. How do you use this date diff function is, let me just, yeah, date difference is there. So how do I make use of this? I have to mention the date part. Okay. So maybe the date part that I'm going to give is a week. Okay. This is the part which I'm giving it. And then I'm going to give the starting date. So I have to give the date now. So let me just give it as 2019, 6 and then 1. Okay. And then again, what I have to give is the end date I have to give it. So again, I'm going to give a date, which is 2019 and then hyphen 6 hyphen 4. Okay. That's given. That is your end date is given. And then we have to mention the start of the week. So start of the week, I'll mention it as Monday. Okay. So it's done. So we have used it correctly. I think it is showing an error because of the reason that, week and then we haven't given a comma here. Yes. Okay. So now it's done. So let's see what is the result it is showing. So it is giving me an output as 1. So let's try to understand what is the meaning of this 1. Okay. See, because the starting of the week is Monday. Okay. Then what we gave it as end date is the 4th June, which is your Tuesday. And then for the another starting date, what we gave was 1st June, which was Saturday. Okay. And both of them were in different weeks, right? So that is the reason it is giving the week as 1 week. Okay. The difference is 1 week between this date and that date. The difference between this date and that date, how many weeks was there? I just wrote it. So it is in a it is in different week. That's why it is giving me the answer as 1. Okay. So this date diff, if you will give instead of a Monday, if I'm going to give it as a Sunday, let me just do it. Okay. So instead of a Monday, if I will give it as a Sunday, then it will give me an answer as 0, right? It should, yeah, let me just edit it one more time. So week is there and 2019, 6 and then 1 is there. 2019, 6 and 4 is there. Then what I have given is, I have just given it as a Sunday. Okay. So click on OK. So let me just change it one more time. Yeah. So let me just change it one more time. So if it is Sunday, it is going to be the same week. So it should obviously give me an answer as 0, right? Yeah. Okay. It is giving me an answer as 1 itself. So let me change it to Saturday then. Okay. So let me just change it to Saturday. Okay. So click on OK. Yeah, now it is giving me at 0. So it is considering the starting of the week itself as a Monday, a Sunday. That's the reason. All right. Now this is the meaning of your date difference. So now let's get inside our thing. And what is the next function that we have is that we had a date difference now. Now we can have a date add. So this is one more function. How do you give this function is that I need to give the date part. Okay. So here I will use a month now. Okay. The date part is month I'm giving. And then I need to specify the interval. Okay. I need to specify the interval, which I'm giving it as 5. Okay. And then I have to give the date. So date is 2019 hyphen 6 hyphen 01. Okay. Then I'm giving it, closing it. Okay. Now what answer it should give me is obviously it should actually it should add 5 months to it, right? So what is the month I have here is 6. So it should give somewhere the result in 11. Let us see whether it is doing that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it is just showing me it in year. Okay. Quarter. And then let me see month. Okay. Okay. So as I said, it should give me 11. So it has shown me a November. Okay. So it's working fine. So it has added 5 months to the actual date which I have given, and then it has given me as answer. Okay. So this is working fine now. All right. So now we have seen what is the meaning of a date difference, and then we have seen what is the meaning of a date add. Now we have something called as a date part. Okay. So let's see what is the meaning of your date part. So when you go here, what you have here is, okay, instead of a date add, you have a date part. Okay. So in your date part, you can actually, actually, if you will say like, if you give a date, okay, and the starting of the week you need to mention. So date part, I will mention it as year. Okay. And then I will mention the date, which is going to be 2019 6/1. This is the date which I have given it. Okay. So done. So this should work actually. So this should actually return 2019 as the answer. Let's see if it is doing it or not. Okay. Yeah, it is giving me the 2019 as the answer because it is just going to return the part of your date as an integer. So that is working. And then one more function that we commonly use is the date trunc function. So let us try to understand this function called as date. Yeah, this function, date trunc is the function. Okay, how do you use this is you just mention the part. So here I will mention the part as quarter. Okay, and then I'm going to specify the date, which is going to be same thing, 2019 6/1 is the date that I have given. Okay, so click on OK. Now it is actually it is in the form of a year, right? So you can actually extend this. So you can see the answer here. Okay. So it is showing me as this actually, it will truncate the date to the limit specified by the depart. Okay. So what is the meaning of this is it'll actually truncate the specified date to the accuracy which is specified by the date part. Okay. So that it is going to return new date as the output. Okay, so it has given me a completely different new date as the output. Okay, so that's the meaning of your date trunc. This is also one common function that most of us will be using it along with the date. And also you can use one more thing which is called as a date name. Date name is there. So this is going to just return the date part of the date as a string. So if you wanted to consider it as a date string, you can consider it. And what else you have is, let me just edit it. So what else we have is make date. There is something called as a make date. Okay, there is a make date as well as make date time. Both are there. So you have to just give the year, month, and the day. Just you can give the integer value 2019, 6, and then 3. I'm just giving the integer value so that it will make a date for me. That's all. That's some functionality of make date. So if I'll keep it here, it'll just give me the date. Okay, so label it. So you can expand it, give me the quarter, and then it is going to give the date. Okay, so likewise you can make a time also. Make time, you can use it. And there is one more function which is your now function. So if you will use now, then it is going to display the current day time, basically date and the time. And today, if you give today, is there is one more function which is your today function. If you give today, that will just show the today's date. Current date will be printed. Okay, and then with the date you can actually perform your maximum and the minimum. Okay, suppose if you give maximum, you use maximum. How do you use maximum is along with the expression or the maximum of two expressions you can give. So if I will give two dates like 2019 6 1 and 2019 6 4, among these two, 4 is the maximum one. So it will just print that output. So this is about your date functions. I hope you got an understanding of your date functions. So this generally, these date functions in Tableau, you will use it to carry out a different kind of logical and arithmetic operations. If you wanted to perform with dates, you can make use of all of these functions. Okay. So of course, the results of the functions is going to be determined by the output type of the functions. Okay. Sometimes some functions might be giving you a logical, same logical functions, but you can observe the differences among the type of the output. Okay, because if you observe in date part and then year, both of them were looking similar. Okay, but the observation with the output gave us a distinction between these two. Okay, so that's all I have for this date function. Hope you have understood all of the different date functions that you can make use of along with the calculated field. So that's all I have for this session. Thank you.